What's going on, fellow engineers? In this video, I'm going to attempt to fix this here traffic light. Uh, it's not working like it should be, and yeah, might end up diving into a little bit of code and probably definitely some Linux. So stay tuned, and I'll explain more after the intro. All right, so I recently performed updates on the traffic light, the system Raspbian updates, and so it is a Raspbian is Ubuntu based, so you just run sudo apt-get sudo upgrade, sudo apt-get update, sudo apt-get upgrade, and it updates everything. And it hasn't been updated in a while, probably like over a year. So it installed a pretty decent number of updates, I would imagine. And so one thing I realized though is after it did all of those updates is that the web UI interface does not work. Now I got to figure out how to get it back working again because I have a couple of upcoming live streams with it, and yeah, it needs to work for those live streams. All right, so we'll go ahead and switch over to the computer, and I have the system pulled up. All right, so clean this off right here. All right, so this is what the control panel looks like for the traffic light. And normally you just go through here, you select the program that it runs, and then you hit submit. Now theoretically, the light should have changed to correspond to that request. However, it has not, as you see. It's still all lit up like it does when it's initially starting up. All right, so and the way I have this designed is this web page submits a request, and that request is written to a text file. The script reads that text file and responds accordingly. And so I'm thinking one of two things has happened. So what I'm thinking is something has happened to that configuration as part of the updates that were done. And so I may have to go back and put that configuration change back in again. The other thing is maybe some permissions got mixed up somewhere with the update. So this is going to be an adventure. As you see, I'm already logged in, and I'm going to go into the project directory, and let's see. So the script is the Raspberry Pi traffic here, and all right, so it is writing to temp traffic .txt. All right, so if I go to or just do an ls of the /temp directory, I should see a file there, which I do. All right, and so I'll actually do a more of all of the traffic files to see what is contained in them. And so all of the files are empty. So more than likely that means Apache is not being allowed to write to the file system. So I'm going to go to the etc directory, and I believe I have version control set up on this with executor. So let's see, do git log. I just sudoed in as the root user, and so git log. So I do see Apache was updated. So it's possible the Apache configuration may have gotten overridden when this happened. And if that is the case, then that would be the problem that we need to fix. So just as some additional set of background, Apache does not allow you to directly write to the file system. You actually have to go in and change some of the configuration settings in Apache to allow it to let you write to the file system. And so here is that right here. All right, so I need to search for this string here. All right, so I'm going to do paste and see if it comes up. All right, so systemd. All right, so I'm going to copy this and then do vi on this and private temp. All right, so actually delete that. And usually what I like to do is to leave the original file in there. And I mean, excuse me, the original line in the configuration, comment it out. So that's what I did here. I put the pound sign in front of it. And so that will comment out this value. And then I put the false value here. Now, what does this private temp attribute do? So what it does is it allows for Apache to access the file system, because what originally Apache will do is that it will create a folder and it will write to that folder and only allow things to be written to that folder instead of allowing direct access to the file system. Obviously, that's for security reasons and whatnot. And so it's enabled by default. But the way I have this designed is that I want the web UI to have direct access to the file system to be able to write to it. And then the Python script goes and reads that file, the value that's in the file, to determine what function to run in the Python script, which then controls which light pattern that the traffic light does. All right, so that is file is now edited. All right, so I need to actually take all of this output and one, and then grab out the stuff that says no such. All right, so clear the screen to make this a little bit readable. All right, so what I did, I modified the command that I originally had, and I'm not sure why it's saying no such file directory when I'm just telling it what to look for. So basically, I'm taking the grep and looking for this particular string in all of the files in the etc directory. And I'm taking the standard error. So all of this no such file or directory comes out of the standard error output. And so I'm taking the standard error output and merging it into the standard output. And then I'm grepping everything that does not have no such in the line. And so therefore I get just this one file. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is gonna reboot and see if when I reboot, that'll apply the new configuration to the Pi for the file system to be able to write to it. And so once the light comes back on, we'll continue from there. Go back and SSH in. So should be able to just do that. It might be a little bit slow since it just started up. All right, so now if I go to my browser and I'm gonna refresh the page, I'll just hit enter and that'll, no, I don't want to search. All right, so hit submit and woohoo, there you go. As you see, the light here in the background is now, all the lights were on. The way this Python script is designed for me to know when it's ready, let's say when I go to a presentation and I plug it in, the way I designed it for it to let me know it's ready is all the lights immediately turn on. And so that's where it was stuck at, as you previously saw. But now, as you see now, it is cycling. I do have it set to the US signaling pattern. So it will run through that. And if I change it, it'll change. It should correspond to that other pattern. And so let me show you what it actually does in the file system. So you go back to the temp directory, and if you do a more of the traffic files. All right, and so if you recall from the previous, when I initially did it, the traffic .txt file was empty as well. I don't know if I have that much scroll back to go and see that or not. Looks like I don't. But that file was empty. And so when that file is empty, it just sits there with all the signals on to the default state, which is the all on state. And so now that it actually has a program in that file, it will run that particular program. That wraps it up for this video. You also got exposed to some Apache configuration settings in here. So if this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to check back next week for another video. If you have not already, please be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button down below, somewhere right down in there, and also click the bell to get additional notifications. And you can check out my website, thealmostengineer.com. So until next time, peace out.